Hey guys, CryptoDad here again. Thanks for joining me on the live stream Tuesday morning Bitcoin Basics Hour, where we talk about the basics, the fundamentals of Bitcoin, and I'll take your questions and do my very best to get them answered. Let's jump in. Oh, whoops. There we go. That's the one. All right, so good morning, welcome, thank you. Had a little trouble with that opening intro thing, whatever it is. So thanks for joining me. Answered a couple of questions. I wanted to focus a little bit on the Ledger mobile version this morning. So I hope that you guys find that useful. I got a question from Viperino about powering off the device. So let's jump. So first of all, this is a Ledger Nano X. There are two main models. I have, whoops, if I can find this thing. This is a S. Let's see if I can get a little bit. Ugh, there we go. There we go. This is the older model. They still sell it. It's still a great model. It has the buttons on the top here. And these buttons are used for navigation on the menu so that you can use the different functions. The newer model is the Ledger Nano X. And in this model, the buttons are on the front. And you can use the buttons to navigate back and forth. And when you want to, issue a command that's whatever the word for it, active, you just hit both buttons to execute that command. So pretty similar to the way the Ledger Nano S works. In fact, when the Ledger Nano X came out, the interface was a little different. They have since updated the firmware on the Ledger Nano S to have a more similar interface to what the X has, so it's a little more overall across both devices. So if you learn how to use one, you're pretty much able to use the other. And the Ledger Nano X has more space for apps and a bigger screen, if you can't tell. And the question that I got from Viperino was about powering off the device. Now you can just pull the plug and it will ask you to re-enter the PIN. It's sort of a reset, but it doesn't always power off right away. So a lot of people wonder, how do I turn this thing off? Is it okay to just yank the plug out? And my answer is, yeah, it's fine. You can just pull the plug out if you want. It's no big deal. It's not going to hurt it. I've never had any problems with just yanking the plug out, but it doesn't always power off automatically when you yank the plug out right away. It takes a little while to power down. But that's no big deal because when you yank the plug out, it goes to PIN entry. So no one's going to gain access to the device when it's in this state. And it will eventually power off, just on its own accord, because it's running on battery power here, and it doesn't really matter if the battery. It doesn't wait for the battery to dissipate to power down. It has I don't know what you could probably set it in the settings, but it will eventually power down, right? But you can, even from here, if you want to, you can, without entering the PIN, you can hold both buttons down and it will enter the command center. See, when you hold both buttons down for a few seconds, it will enter the command center, and then you can just navigate over to power off. And like I said, when you're on a command, just hit both buttons and it will execute that command, supposedly. It's not working, of course, for me now. I don't know why. That's weird. All right, it says power off. Oh, I was holding them down too long. It was just a single click. So that's another thing that a lot of people get a little messed up about this device is a lot of times they'll hold both buttons down too long, and like I just did, and it won't execute the command. In order to execute the command, you just need to click both buttons at the same time, and that will execute the command. So holding down both buttons at the same time for a few seconds is a command is brings you into the command center. So sometimes when you hold both buttons down too long, it thinks you're trying to enter the command center. And as you noticed before there, I was in the command center, so it didn't know what to do. All right, so if I believe to just power it on with no cable connected, you can just hold this button for a few seconds and it takes you into this, right? But we really don't want that. I'm going to power off. What we really want is we want to get to where it asks for the pin. Let's hold it for a minute. Right there. That's what we really want. We want it to get to this point. All right. So I hope that answers any questions you have about turning the device on and off. And of course, when you plug it and unplug it, it's always going to ask you for the pin. So if it's unplugged and you've got it working and it's in, like you're in the interface and you plug it in, it's immediately going to go to pin mode, enter pin mode. And if you're in the device and you're working with it with the cable connected and you unplug the cable, it's immediately going to go back to pin entry mode, right? Either one gives it kind of a sleep kind of a setting, right? All right, so I'm going to enter the pin. Oh, and another thing too, we're going to go through the mobile version of Ledger Live today, right, from our phone, which uses Bluetooth. The device does not need to be unplugged to interface with the Bluetooth. It can be plugged in to the computer and still use Bluetooth to communicate with the mobile version, right? So it doesn't have to be either plugged or plugged in to use either feature. But it does need to be plugged in to work with the computer and the Ledger Live, all right? So let's go over here. Let's go to here. This is Ledger Live. I would like to bring it down a little bit here. This is the software that we use to interface with our accounts, and so that we can track our portfolios. You can see here I've got some Bitcoin accounts here, mostly empty. I've got an Ethereum account here that has some ERC20 tokens in it. I've got Stellar, Tezos, Tron, and XRP. All of these accounts are the private keys are stored on this device, and but I can view their balances and send and receive from this interface, but I need to sign transactions with this guy, right? In order to send any crypto out, I'm going to need to sign transactions with the private keys. This is like a keychain that runs this car, right? Think of it that way. So I'm going to enter my PIN and greet you guys, and we'll talk a little more about Ledger Mobile and how it works, because I think a lot of people are interested in just using this device mobily without using a computer. There's a lot of people out there that maybe they don't have a computer, or they're just uncomfortable using a computer to manage their crypto. They would rather do it on their phone, right? I don't know. But anyway, so we're going to go over how the mobile version of Ledger works and how they sort of tie together. Let's pop out chat here. So I can just say hello to Celtic fan was here early. It's good to have you. Thank you for joining me once again. Max R is here. Wonderful to have you. Oscar C from Texas. Cool. Celtic fan is from Michigan. That's good. Formal spam from Greece. That's wonderful. I'm not going to talk about coins for today, specific coins. CryptoDad, Harry Dane, it's good to have you here. CryptoDad, one of my favorite YouTubers. You're doing a great service for crypto. Crypto Wealth. Thank you very much. All right. So we talked, this is Bitcoin basics, and we've been talking over the last several weeks about Bitcoin wallets, right? We want to focus on Bitcoin wallets. Um, and so usually what I'll do is I'll bring up this, let's see, Mastering Bitcoin. And the link is in my description below. So if you check out my description of this video, just scroll down a little bit, under the YouTube video. And I've got some affiliate links here for crypto.com and Ledger, of course, and the Brave browser. Uh, but if you go down a little further, I believe there's a link down here to the Bitcoin book that I often reference, right? It's free online. You can actually buy the book on Amazon or from O'Reilly's website. It's a great book if you really want to know how Bitcoin works. He also has another one by Ethereum. This is Andreas Antonopoulos. So I usually will go into one of these chapters and talk about what wallets are, right? And when we talk about a Bitcoin wallet, the first thing that comes to mind is this guy, the one that we carry around in our pocket. And that's, there are a lot of similarities and there are a lot of differences. One of the main things that we use our real world wallet for is carrying money, right? Cash, dollars. We've got credit cards and IDs and all that other stuff in there and coupons and all that. But, one of its main functions is carrying money around. But we don't carry all of our money, right? The bulk of our money generally is in a bank account, right? You might have your money somewhere else, like a trust fund or whatever. But in general, most people have a certain amount of money in their possession, but they don't carry it all around in their wallet, right? That would be foolhardy, because you could lose your wallet, you could drop your wallet, you could get mugged and all that stuff, right? So there are several types of Bitcoin wallets, right? There are Bitcoin wallets that are on your phone, and that type of wallet is more like the carry around wallet. I wouldn't want to store all my cryptocurrency on a phone-based wallet for the very same reasons that we wouldn't want to carry all our cash around in our real world wallet, right? You might lose it, you might drop it, you might, somebody might steal your phone, all that kind of stuff. So a Bitcoin wallet can be on a phone, it can be on your computer, and then this little guy is a type of wallet, but it's really more of a keychain than anything else, right? So we've talked about that. Wallets are really keychains containing pairs of private public keys. This is a cryptographic thing. So the money that I have in the bank is mine by virtue of my identity, right? I have an identity. I have a birth certificate. I have a state issued ID. And by having those things, I can prove who I am, right? So that if I lose my ATM card, I can go to the bank and prove who I am, and that money is mine by virtue of me being who I am, right? Bitcoin is not like that. A lot of people find that hard to wrap their head around. Bitcoin is mine by virtue of me controlling that private key. So it's very similar to a bearer bond. I had somebody ask me in the comments or an email. I haven't replied to her yet, but she's like, "How do I transfer a wallet? My nephew has a wallet he wants to give me as a birthday present. How do we transfer that?" Right? It doesn't have anything to do with who he is and who she is, right? It's just a matter of who has the private key. So he could just give her the wallet, just hand it to her, and similar to the way a bearer bond works. A bearer bond is whoever has it in their hand, whoever has it in their possession, is the owner, right? It doesn't have anything to do with their name or anything like that, right? So, but if the nephew gives the aunt his Bitcoin wallet and it's a ledger or whatever, she has control of that Bitcoin. If the nephew still has the recovery phrase, he could just he still has possession, right? But he could honestly just not, recover the wallet. But in order to fully give someone a Bitcoin wallet, you need to give them not only the key, the wallet itself, or the computer where it's on, or the phone. They have to give up that recovery phrase too, because you can recreate the wallet anywhere, anytime with the recovery phrase. That's a little bit complicated, right? Anyway, we wanted to talk about the Ledger mobile version, right? So there is a mobile version of Ledger Live. This is the computer version, right? There's a mobile version of Ledger Live that we can access such on our phone, right? And as you'll notice, it's empty, right? So, but I already have it paired to this device. And as you can see in Ledger Live, there's already accounts on there, right? There are already a bunch of wallets and private keys that are stored on this device. So how do I access all of that from my phone-based version of Ledger Live? Well, let's start with just adding an account, right? So there are accounts on here, right? There are wallets on here. So if I just tap Add Account, and then I tap the little plus there, it says, okay, what kind of account would you like to add? Well, I'm going to add a Bitcoin account. Now you'll see here, this is where it's already been paired. I'm not going to go through the pairing part when you first set it up. I'm sure you can handle that, right? It just has to do with there's a process you go through, and as long as your device is in range, it'll see it and you'll pair up, just like you pair up your phone and your car, right? So we'll hit that. Now it's going to connect to the ledger. At first it sees the ledger, right? If it didn't see the ledger, it wouldn't have gone to the Bitcoin thing. So okay, it sees the ledger. Now it says, okay, you need to open the Bitcoin app, right? Now also notice, let me bring this guy over here, that the device is connected to the computer. So even though it's connected to the computer, the Bluetooth functions will still work. So let's enter the Bitcoin app. And now the phone, which is not connected to my computer at all, come on, is now connecting to the device via Bluetooth. Right? Now, I'll bring this up too. A lot of people think, oh my God, it's not safe to have things going back and forth on Bluetooth, right? Well, the first thing I'll mention is that the private key never leaves the device. So no one can steal your private key through Bluetooth, right? Now, there's a very small chance that an attacker might be able to tap into your transaction as it goes back and forth. But that I don't even know how if that's even possible, to be honest with you, because it is encrypted, right? So it'd have to be a pretty sophisticated hacker. All right, so now, as you can see, it's connected to all of those Bitcoin accounts that were on the other Ledger Live, right? So let's look at Ledger Live here. There's a Bitcoin account that's got 0.0076 Bitcoin in it. That's this guy here. Notice I have it named Bitcoin Main in Ledger Live, but it doesn't matter what it's named, right? It's the ledger doesn't really care what it's named. The name is just for me, right? So let's go ahead and add that guy. I'm going to deselect all these empty ones that I have, And I'll just tap this guy. Now you'll notice too that there's that Bitcoin 12. It also sees another account where there's a little bit of Bitcoin, but it's not in my Ledger Live. I could add it to my Ledger Live, but it's just not showing in my Ledger Live. So we'll just ignore that one for now. And then also note down there at the bottom, it's offering me the opportunity to create empty ones, right? It's saying, oh, okay, you want to add a new account, like an empty Bitcoin wallet? Here you go, right? Now, you'll notice too that I can't edit the name before I add it on the phone, but I can do it afterwards, right? I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. And then I can go to accounts, and there it is. There's that Bitcoin account. Now, I really don't need the device here at the moment, right? It read the device. It found the private keys. It saw the balance. It offered me the opportunity to add it to my Ledger Live on the phone. And now I can tap that account, and I can see that account on my phone. Notice, too, that same account is also being displayed in Ledger Live, right? They're the exact same account, exact same device, just two different interfaces, all right? So, oops, sorry. Let's go back over here. Now, I don't like that name, Bitcoin 10 native SegWit. The native SegWit is okay. It just kind of helps me know what type of account this is. So I'm just going to tap that little wrench up in the top right corner. And where it says account name, I'm going to tap that. And then I can edit the name of the account, right? I don't really want that 10 in there. So I can just call it Bitcoin. And then I'll apply, because I've only got one Bitcoin account on this device, right? And then I can get out of this. And now you can see the account name has changed. So we can go out to the account level, and there we go. Now I could do the same thing for all of the other cryptocurrencies that are on Ledger Live, right? The ones I know that are on, that I have private keys on the device. But there is an easier way. Instead of doing them one by one, I can just manually, in one fell swoop, add them all from Ledger Live. Now, of course, this requires that you have Ledger Live in a computer. A lot of people don't, right? Like a lot of people, they just want to use Ledger Live on their phone, and they don't even have Ledger Live on their computer. But if you're like me, if you have both, and you just want a mirror image so that you can see which device, which accounts you want to access from your phone, there's an easier way, right? So let's go back to Ledger Live. I'll get this guy out of the way. Let's go up to the settings, and then we'll go over to accounts, and then there's a command here that says export accounts. I can hit export, and it's going to give me a dynamic QR code. So I'll just take my phone in my Ledger Live app, and I'll hit that plus up in the top right corner again. And here it says add accounts. We did that the first time. But notice right below that, there's another item that says import desktop accounts. And it's got a little QR code icon. So let's tap that, and it opens up the camera on my phone. Now I can hold that up. Oops. And notice the little status at the bottom, right? It's 62, 70, 95. Boom, there it is. Now it has automatically imported all of the accounts from my Ledger Live onto my phone, right? And so I can just hit that import button, and then all of the accounts that were on my computer are now on my phone-based app. Makes life much simpler than to do them one by one. And there you go. So now I got them all on here. But let's say, for whatever reason, I really don't want to look at my Stellar from my phone, right? I don't have to have exactly the same accounts on my phone as I have on my computer, right? They're all going to always be on the device, but I don't necessarily need to see them all or care about them all, right? Maybe I don't want grandpa to know I have Stellar, but I want to show him my Bitcoin, right? Or whatever, right? So I could just say, okay, why don't I just go to my Stellar account? I'll hit that little wrench up in the top corner, and then I'll just remove this account from my portfolio. This did not delete the Stellar private keys on my Ledger device. It just took the interface off my phone so that I don't have to see it anymore. I could do the same thing with the XRP. I can tap XRP, hit that little gear shift icon, and hit remove account from portfolio, delete. This does not delete the wallet. It just deletes the interface to it. I could always re-add it if I wanted to on the phone. I could do another export and then get all the accounts back again, right? I'm just showing you ways to manage the accounts that you see on your phone, right? A lot of people get caught up in the Bitcoin is on the phone. It's not on the phone. And then when I'm deleting an account, they freak out. They're like, oh my God, you just deleted it. How are you going to get it back? Well, it's on this, right? This is the important thing. And if this thing gets destroyed or lost, I can always restore with my 24-word recovery phrase. So I'm covered, right? You're never going to lose your crypto. No matter what you delete and add and destroy on your phone or on your computer, as long as you've got, or even the device itself, right? I could crush this by accident, right? Or drop it in a swimming pool. As long as I've got that 24-word recovery phrase saved, I can always restore. I hope that I was like, I don't know what to say next. Let's go over here and see if there's any questions. W just joined, happy to be here. Changed my name, was Wout John Fitzgerald. Oh yeah, I remember last time. Yeah, that was a mouthful. Good to see you. John J Constant, BTC going to 11.5 very fast. Let's hope. Let's check what's Bitcoin up to today. I can open up my crypto.com app, and I like this app because it can give me a quick overview of what the price of Bitcoin is doing or other top cryptocurrencies. So, okay, so Bitcoin's at 97 today. It's pretty cool. Yesterday, it shot up to 99 and then right back down within like half an hour. Bitcoin's pretty volatile, right? You got to always keep that in mind when you're dealing with cryptocurrencies. Rex W, do you think that banks will become obsolete in the future? If that is so, that would be a whole change in the world, and a lot of people lose their jobs, but also wealth not only for the 1%. Yeah, I mean, the current banking system, as it is basically what's driving the world economy, right? So I'm not a big fan of banks because they're centralized, and the people that run the banks and have the most money are basically the ones that are have their finger on the money spigot, right? They control the creation of money. A lot of people don't realize this, but banks create money. A lot of people think that banks are just like this building where you take your cash and put it in there, and then they use your cash to run businesses, right? They use your cash, they lend it out or whatever. Well, that whole paradigm, I mean, we were all told that when we were kids. You know, put your money in the bank. They need your money to, lend to businesses and, stimulate the economy and run the all that good stuff. And, for that, for the fact that you put your money in the bank, you get paid interest, right? Because, you're lending your money to the bank, right? And they're paying you interest. And, everybody benefits. It's not like that anymore, right? You don't gain anything really from putting your money in a bank except for convenience and security. Now, that's good stuff, right? But really, when you put your money in a bank, it becomes their money and they do whatever the heck they want with it. My daughter's alarm is going off. But really, we're not earning interest like we used to, right? Back in the day, you used to earn like, I don't know, 5% interest on your savings. That was substantial, right? Your money would grow if you kept it in a bank, especially like for years, like when you were a kid. If you put like $100, a month or a year or whatever, that money would grow, that principal would grow substantially in that account by the time you were 20 or whatever, right? But it's not like that anymore. You actually probably lose money by keeping it in a bank because of the fees and all that other stuff. So anyway, but do we really want that system to collapse? I don't know. That would cause a lot of issues. A lot of what we call innocent people would be harmed if the banking system were to collapse, right? People would lose their jobs, businesses would shut down. A lot of people that had their money in banks would suddenly have zero money, that kind of stuff, right? So I don't know that I really want the banking system to collapse. What we would love to have would be an orderly transition where people would start to realize that Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, managing your own finances, being your own bank, decentralized currency is the way of the future, and we transition over to that. But I don't think that I really want the entire banking system to just collapse tonight and then, from the ashes have Bitcoin rise. I don't know how orderly that would be, right? But we would like there to be some sort of movement or transition from centralized banking to decentralized banking, which is more beneficial to more people, right? Instead of having a few people in control of the entire money supply and money creation, then we would have people that are managing their own finances, right? Because most people are in what we call debt slavery, right? We don't think of it as slavery because, nobody wants to, the banks don't want to advertise that, that they're your overlords and you're their slaves, right? But when you think about it, if you owe a bunch of money and you're constantly servicing that debt and you're swimming in debt, you're not really free, right? And most people are swimming in debt. They have cars, they have houses, they have all this great stuff, but their income is being sucked by interest payments and debt payments and that sort of thing. Anyway, it's good to have everybody here. Guys, throw out some questions for me. It's not on the ledger, it's on the blockchain. Yes, that is true. I'm sorry that sometimes I simplify so that people can understand. I didn't say that the Bitcoin was on the ledger. I said that the private keys were on the ledger. So, but a lot of people think that the coins are on here, and I may have said it like that as we were discussing it. But as Roll mentioned, the Bitcoin is not on the device. The private keys for the Bitcoin address are on the device, right? The real Bitcoin, the real cryptocurrency, lives on the blockchain, digitally, right? And the blockchain is a ledger, right? I don't want you to confuse that with this. It is a decentralized ledger, which a ledger is basically, when you think about accounting, it's just like back in the days, right? There was businesses had like this huge book with many pages where they kept their ledger by hand, right? But it's not like that anymore. Most businesses use some form of business software that manages their finances, right? But it can still be considered a ledger, right? Like QuickBooks. QuickBooks is a ledger type software that you can use to do accounting. And there's lots of accounting softwares out there. But most businesses have one centralized ledger where they store everything. And where money comes in and money goes out. Banks have one ledger, right? They're centralized. Now that ledger might be redundant, and they may be, in the cloud and all that good stuff, but effectively, there's really only one ledger per bank, right? It has one balance sheet. Whereas Bitcoin is decentralized. There are multiple copies of the ledger floating around all over the world. Not really floating, right? They're on devices. They're on computers. They're on phones, but most phones don't really have an entire copy of the blockchain, right? But there are certain devices out there that have a full copy of the blockchain, which we would call a node, right? And all of those nodes sync up to each other across the internet. They use cryptography to verify that they are indeed have the latest copy of all of the transactions. So if one node gets destroyed, there are other nodes out there that still have copies of all of the Bitcoin transactions out there. So in order to destroy Bitcoin, you would need to destroy every single blockchain node in existence, which is virtually impossible, right? They're all over the place. And, all you need is one to make a copy of another, right? It's kind of like a science fiction movie. But right, the Bitcoin is not on this device, it's on the blockchain. Thanks for bringing that up. Steve from the Netherlands, by the way. It's 3 o'clock, 15:33 in your time. That's cool. I don't know anything about the DV project. Have you seen CRO pumping? Wow, that coin is going like crazy. Think it's due to the fact that the interest for staking is so good. To the moon. There you go. Right. I don't know that CRO has staking. It does on crypto.com, I guess. They'll pay you interest if you hold it in your crypto.com account. Yeah. Where at the Netherlands? Come on, guys, ask me some questions and I'll answer them. I guess what we can do, since there's no burning questions out there at the moment, we can move some crypto around from one wallet to another. I'll do Trust Wallet today. Let's go over to Trust Wallet. Trust Wallet is a phone-based wallet where the private key is stored on the phone, right? I have a backup phrase if I lose my phone, all right? But it's a standalone wallet. Now notice that it supports Bitcoin. So maybe we'll put a little Bitcoin in Trust Wallet. We'll move it from our Ledger wallet. So how do we do that, right? I don't know. Why would we want to do that? I don't know. But let's just assume we do for whatever reason. Maybe I'm sending it to someone else's Trust Wallet. All right. So the first thing I'll do is I'll tap Bitcoin there. And I could buy Bitcoin through a third party through this wallet. I'm not going to do that. I actually just want to transfer some Bitcoin into this wallet. So I'll hit receive. When I tap receive, it generates a sending address, an address that I can use to send Bitcoin to this address or this wallet, right? So I'm going to copy that address into my clipboard, and then let's go back over to Ledger Live, right? And we've got an account here with some Bitcoin in it. So let's tap that account. Now I want to send some Bitcoin from this wallet to a different wallet. Well, I got the address from Trust Wallet already, so I can paste that in here. Right, there's the Bitcoin address. Now, how much do I want to send? Well, let's see, I've got 0.007575. Let's send 0.002. That's about 20 bucks worth of Bitcoin, just for the heck of it. Right? And now I'll hit continue. And there's an overview of my transaction. Now, when I hit continue, it's going to activate the security measures of the ledger. The ledger has private keys for this wallet. So what needs to happen is the transaction needs to be signed, similar to a boss of a company signing a check when he pays his employees, right? Has anyone ever received a check for payment from, like a friend or a relative for his birthday, or you mowed somebody's lawn and they gave you a check, and then you took it to the bank, and the bank says, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir, I can't cash this," or "Ma'am, I can't cash this check because they forgot to sign it," right? So the signature on the check is required in order to verify that the account holder has authorized this transaction, right? That's the way checks work. It's the same. Bitcoin is very similar, right? The private key that is stored on this device needs to be utilized to authorize the transaction. How can I prove that I possess this private key? Well, there's a cryptographic function that can be initiated that will prove that I own this Bitcoin, called a digital signature. And the private key is used in this digital mathematical transformation. The private key never leaves the device, it simply signs the transaction. It's a fancy way of saying it just authorizes it. So I'm going to hit continue here. Now I need to tell Ledger Live Mobile which Ledger Nano I'm talking about. I have two ledgers set up. I'm going to use my Ledger Nano X. All right. Now it's going to connect to the device. It should be asking me to enter the Bitcoin app. I think I'm in the Bitcoin app. All right, I'm going to re-enter the Bitcoin. It kind of glitched out. There it is. Okay. It was in the Bitcoin app. Now I'm going to turn this camera on so you can see the device. All right. There you go. See, the device is asking me to review the output. So I'm going to use this button to move it over one. And there's the amount we decided to send, right? This is all confirmation. There's the address we're sending to. That's the address of the trust wallet. Let's move over one more. And now it says, okay, do you wish to accept this? And I'll say, yes. This is where I'm signing it. This is where I'm authorizing the device to actually sign the transaction. Both buttons. Now it's asking me to confirm the fees, right? The Bitcoin fees on the blockchain. I have to authorize the payment of the fees out of my Bitcoin account. Small amount, right? That's how Bitcoin works, right? Now I'm going to hit both buttons again, and I've just signed the transaction, right? Now the Bitcoin can go out on the blockchain to that other address that we put in here, right? It's on its way. Well, I'm going to turn this guy off. I'm done with the device. Right. Now let's see what's going on the other side. I'll hit close. And you can see there at the top, there's that transaction going out, right? Says it's sent. Let's go back over to Trust Wallet. Let's back up a little bit. And lo and behold, that Bitcoin has now arrived in the Trust Wallet. So I just moved Bitcoin from one blockchain address to another on the blockchain, all right? But the receiving address just happens to be an address that I control, right? I have access to that. So that Bitcoin is now in my Trust Wallet. Now, I could spend that Bitcoin by virtue of the fact that I control this private key. The private key is stored on my phone, and I have an interface to it from my wallet. Now, but you can see that it still says pending, right? It needs to be confirmed on the blockchain. This is a confirmation process because it's decentralized, right? It has to query a bunch of Bitcoin blockchain nodes in order to process. Each of the nodes has to process my little transaction until it's finally confirmed on the blockchain, and then I'll have full access from this phone to that small amount of Bitcoin, right? I'll be able to spend it if I want to. And then we can just back out. And there you go. So you can see that in my Trust Wallet that there's Bitcoin and an amount, and it's got a little alert on there telling me that it's still pending. All right, but it eventually will be confirmed and spendable in my own wallet. So we just moved some Bitcoin. That's pretty cool. That's what I find so cool. Woolali just gave me a tip. Can you store Theta in the ledger? If so, can you show? Yes, Theta. Let's see. There's a specific wallet that you need for Theta. Whoops. All right. So here's our Theta token. And okay, so here's the wallet. Now Theta used to be a ERC20 token. It's not anymore. So please don't try to move your Theta from an exchange to an ERC20 wallet, right? Because it won't get there. Right? You have to use the Theta wallet, and then boom, there it is, right? So you go to the Theta homepage, right, and then you go to this little link here. And by the way, thanks for the tip. I appreciate that, Wally. So this is the interface where you can manage your Theta, and we want to use hardware, right? We want to use our ledger. Now, before we do this, we need to make sure that in Ledger Live, we'll go over here to Manager. Well, let's try it from the phone, right? We're doing phone today, right? So let's do it from the phone. Let's go back over to Ledger Live. Let's just assume, right? Down there at the bottom, along the bottom, there's some icons. Towards the right is the Manager icon. So I'm going to hit that Manager icon. And then I'm going to go to Ledger Nano X. And let's take a look. It wants me to go to the dashboard. So I need to get out of the Bitcoin app. I was in the Bitcoin app. I need to get out of the Bitcoin app and then to the dashboard, right? This is the dashboard. And hopefully this will work. Okay, there it appears good. Now it wants me to allow Ledger Manager. Now I believe Theta, it's kind of weird. All right. In order to, I don't believe there's a Theta. Here, I'm going to turn this off for a sec. I do not believe they have a Theta app. It's kind of weird, huh? So let's search for it. Oops. No. All right. So here's, and this makes it confusing. I get it why people have trouble with Theta, right? So, but let's go here, and let's do ledger.com, and we want to go to the home page and go over to crypto assets, and then we're going to put Theta in here so they can give us some information about how Theta works. Theta? Oh, it says it's an ERC20 token. I don't believe them. I don't know. I guess if it is, then you can just put it in your Ethereum wallet. But I'm not sure that it is. Huh. Okay. That's what it says. It says I can just store it inside my ERC20 wallet. But I always thought Theta had its own blockchain. Am I wrong? Well, I don't know. It's gone. Anyway, it was my understanding that you needed to use... but anyway, I'm trying not to get you confused about all this. There is no Theta app, so you need to use the Ethereum app, right? You go into Ethereum... phone. Right. We'll go into Ethereum. Whoops. right? There's Ethereum. I'm going to hit both buttons. Now that I'm in the Ethereum app, I'm going to go to this wallet here. I'm going to hit Ledger. Make sure your Ledger is connected. I'm going to use the Ledger Live derivation path, they call that. All right, I'm going to hit continue. It's going to, Windows 10 is going to do some weird stuff. Right, and boom, there it is. There it's got my Theta addresses. It doesn't matter which one I choose, right? I would choose the one that has a balance, right? But I don't have any Theta right now, so I'll start with an empty one. We'll just click that. It says access my wallet. There's an empty Theta address, right? So I could do a receive, copy this, and then go over to Binance or wherever I have my Theta and withdraw it to this address. And then I would see it in this wallet, right? Now, Ledger was telling me that it's still an ERC20 token, but I think you'd be better off using this interface because from what I understand, Theta has its own blockchain now. You may be able to store it as an ERC20 token, but you wouldn't be able to take full advantage of all its features, right? Because it has that fuel, whatever, right? This would be my recommended method of using Theta with a ledger, right? Go to the Theta website, go to their wallet interface, and choose hardware, right? And then choose ledger. And then make sure that you're in the Ethereum app when you've got your ledger connected, and you'll be able to manage your Theta. That's the answer. Thanks for asking the question. Let's get this out of the way. Yes, I'm using Trust Wallet, Matt C. asks. Eric, on my Ledger X, should the receiving address for an ETH token such as BAT have a different receiving address than my ETH? No, it does not, right? They're all the exact same address, right? I know people find that hard to wrap their head around, but if we look at the Ethereum wallet, right, and we hit receive, and I'm just going to shortcut get that address, right? There's the Ethereum address of the Ethereum wallet, right? It ends in C64, right? Now let's go check out BAT. All right, let's do BAT. Let's do a receive on BAT. Continue. Same address, exact same address, right? Now let's try Datacoin, right? That's another ERC20 token. Let's do a receive on that. Continue. Same address, exact same address. All the ERC20 tokens that you have in your Ethereum wallet can be sent to that Ethereum wallet using that same address, right? They're all the same exact Ethereum address. When the wallet receives a token, it knows what type of token it is. That's how Ethereum works, right? So if I send any ERC20 token to this Ethereum wallet, it will know that it's not Ethereum, that it's a subcoin, and adjust the balance accordingly, right? If I send BAT to an Ethereum address, it won't magically become Ethereum. It will just know, oh, okay, I see some BAT that just came into my wallet. I'm just going to put it in the little BAT compartment, right? Whatever ERC20 token, you can, it all goes to the exact same address. Now, you could have multiple Ethereum wallets that have different ERC20 tokens in them, right? But if you only have one Ethereum address and you're using it to manage all of your ERC20 tokens, then all the tokens go to the exact same address. That's just how Ethereum works. Is it possible to send you a message to the receipt when you transfer Bitcoin like you do with a bank transfer? Well, everything about that Bitcoin transaction is in my ledger, right? If I go to that account, I look right there. There's the sent I can click that, and that gives me all of that. That's my receipt, basically, right? And it's stored on the blockchain, right? I can click this button, and it's going to take me to a blockchain explorer and show me all of the information about that transaction. It is now stored immutably forever and ever and ever and ever on the Bitcoin blockchain. It will always be there until the world ends, right? Armageddon, right? There's your receipt right there, right? You could print that out if you want and put it in a drawer, but it's always going to be on the blockchain. So there's your receipt right there. TRX is going parabolic soon. I'll believe it when I see it. Tron was 8 cents in 2017, and now it's like 1.5 cents. And it's been that way for a couple years. If it goes parabolic, I'll be shocked. All right? And I will congratulate you if you have lots of Tron. I'll say, yippee for you, good job. I have some Tron, but I don't think I'll be a millionaire from Tron. But I'm hoping someday that my Tron will be worth more than it is now. Because it's negative from where I bought it. Can you store solve on a ledger? Yes, you can. If you'll notice, I have some. And I want to bring this up. I have some people. Where is it? Right here. There it is. Solve. I have 3,929 solve in this Ethereum wallet. But notice this over here. What the heck is this? Why don't I see a dollar value? Well, it doesn't mean that I don't have the solve. It just means that Ledger, at the moment, does not provide pricing information for this particular token. The token is in my wallet. Everything's fine and dandy, but Ledger doesn't have pricing information. That doesn't mean that I don't have it. A lot of people freak out about that. They're like, why isn't it showing the price? I'm like, does it matter? Right? I can go over to CoinGecko, right? And I can put in solve. There it is right there. And how much do I have? 39.29, right? I can just go here, 39.29, and boom, there it is. That's how much, that's the current value of my solve, right? I know it's a little bit of a hassle, but just because it's not showing me the current price in Ledger doesn't mean that it doesn't have any value. It just means that Ledger doesn't have pricing information for this particular token. No big deal, right? You can still store it in the Ledger, and maybe someday they will. See, if you'll notice here, if we go over to settings, let's see here. These are the exchanges that they query for pricing information, right? So to get the current value of Ethereum in Ledger Live, they query BitMEX. In order to get the current value of my Bitcoin, my US dollar value, they query BitMEX as well. For the BAT, they query CoinX, right? They're just pulling up the current dollar value based on the prices of the current price on these particular exchanges. And you'll just notice that neither of these have whatever exchange that is currently trading either of these coins, Ledger doesn't have an interface to that, right? It just means they don't have pricing information. That's all. It doesn't mean the coin is not there. It doesn't mean the coin is worthless. It just means that they don't have pricing information in Ledger Live, right? But the coin has value, right? I can go check it right here. If I want to sell it, I can transfer it over to an exchange that trades in Solve, right? I think Bittrex. You can sell your Solve on Bittrex. Solve is a relatively new coin, so it's not that you can't buy it on Coinbase. You can't buy it on. There's a lot of places that don't sell it, right? But you can store it in your ledger, keep it safe and secure. Even though you can't see the current price in Ledger Live, you can always just check it on CoinGecko. No big deal. I don't understand the 20 XRP requirement to send XRP to another address. I tried sending some to my Ledger, but for some reason it seems like my Ledger XRP app is not working. All right, so XRP, for whatever weird, bizarre reason, and I don't understand it either, requires you to maintain at least 20 XRP in your wallet, right? So if you buy XRP on an exchange and then put your XRP in a wallet and then you try to send it all, it won't let you send it all, right? The reason why is because you have to keep 20 in the wallet. I don't know why. It's just the way it is. So I could send 1,980, but I would have that 20 XRP will be stuck in this wallet forever and ever and ever. It's just the way it works, right? So if you try to send out more XRP, then if you try to send out all of this XRP, it won't allow it until you bring it back down so that you're allowing 20 to stay in the wallet. I don't know why it's like that. It just is, right? One of the reasons to hate XRP, right? Just the way XRP works. But you can send it out. You just have to make sure that you leave at least 20 in the wallet. Otherwise, it'll tell you that you don't have enough balance, which freaks you out. You're like, what do you mean I don't have enough, right? I got 2,000. Like, well, you got to leave 20 in there. You really only have 1,980, strictly speaking, right? Because there's that 20 is always going to stay in the wallet. They should just subtract that amount from your balance, but they don't, right? Make life easier on everybody if they just let it be under the hood. But then everyone would freak out when they transfer 2,000 XRP to Ledger and then it says you've only got 1,980. They'd be like, what happened to that 20? Well, that's essentially what happened. When you transferred it into the wallet, that 20 disappeared forever. You're never going to be able to spend it. It's stuck in the wallet. I don't know why it's like that. It just is. Okay. So I made a transaction 3 days ago. I transferred some Pundi X token, but the lower gas, I wait 20 hours, LOL. Yeah, when you transfer with a low gas or a low fee, it's going to take longer to be mined on the blockchain, right? Sometimes it won't get mined at all and the transaction will just die. I don't know. Maybe it bounces back to your wallet. But it's really not in your best interest to try and save money on fees because you're just going to cause yourself stress because it takes longer for your transaction to process. And it might not get mined at all, right? You don't want that. One day Tron will be the world currency. Yay. Let's hope so. Yes, right. They don't want people spamming new addresses, so it costs you something to hold it in your wallet. That's probably why they did that. You know what? I'm having trouble. I've always had trouble connecting my Ledger to Shapeshift using different browsers, different operating systems. They keep giving me emails telling me how easy it is to connect my Ledger. I've made it work once or twice, but it's not consistent. So that's why I don't use Shapeshift, to be honest with you. I find it a little difficult to connect the Ledger. There's always some problem in the browser and it's popping up and saying device not recognized or whatever. And so I'm like, all right, well, it doesn't work. So, it might work, but I don't have an answer for you because it doesn't work for me consistently either. Right. Anyway, Scott just jumped in right as I'm about to leave, as usual, for Tuesday morning. Sorry about that, Scott, but I know you're a fan of watching at increased speed after the fact. So we talked a lot about Ledger Mobile. If you're interested in that today, we moved a little crypto between Ledger and Trust Wallet. So that's just a brief overview of what went down. And we answered some questions about Theta. Everyone's asking me about Theta. I guess it's doing well. I don't know. I don't have any. The reason Coinbase made you wait 3 days is because you bought it using your bank account. When you buy coins on Coinbase using your bank account, they will not allow you to move the coins out of the wallet until the bank transaction has cleared. That's just the way Coinbase works, right? Because if they allowed you to immediately purchase a coin with your bank account and then allowed you to withdraw it, and then you called your bank and reversed charges, then Coinbase would be screwed out of all that Ethereum. And I know you're not a fraudster and a criminal, but that's because there are people that do that sort of thing, is why they make you wait 3 days for the transaction to clear through your bank. So you can't reverse charges, right? That's why they do that. Right? If you want to buy Ethereum and then immediately transfer it, then use your debit card option. Unfortunately, your debit card limit would not allow you to buy that much Ethereum immediately, right? So if you're going to use Coinbase, you're going to need to wait 3 days before you move the coin. Or if you use something like Coinbase Pro or Bittrex, you can wire money to your account and then use it to buy Ethereum. But either way, you're going to have to wait for the money to get into the account before you can buy the Ethereum. Right? That's just because of the way the normal banking system works, right? There are takebacks. They're like, oh, wait, I didn't mean to do that. Let me call my bank and say, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to transfer, $20,000. Can you fix it? Can you pull it back? And the bank will be like, okay, right? There are takebacks in the banking system, right? But there are no takebacks in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. If I move Bitcoin from one address to another, that's it. It's done forever. There's no, ooh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Can I take that back? No, it doesn't work like that. That's why Coinbase won't let you withdraw it. Because once they allow you to withdraw the 100 ETH to your own wallet, it's yours forever. There's no way Coinbase can call somebody and have them, send back that 100 ETH that they lost, right? So if you move the ETH to your own wallet and then call your bank and reverse charges, Coinbase will be out 100 ETH. So that's why they make you wait 3 days to clear. Anyway, guys, legacy sucks. That's right. Your 100 ETH was in there for 6 months. Well, I don't know then. I don't know why they would make you wait 3 days. I mean, normally that would mean, I have no idea. Maybe you had it in their vault. I don't know the situation in your, that would be something you would deal with Coinbase on. But they're kind of legacy, they're kind of they're straddling the legacy and crypto worlds. Well, it's too late to talk about staking today, so you'll have to tune in on Friday or next week. So staking just means that you're earning interest on your crypto while it's in your wallet. So check. I've got some videos on staking too. Just Google CryptoDad's staking. Don't forget, I do a live stream every Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please join me for the live Q&A from Michigan, where you can throw out questions, and I'll do my very best to get them answered. Hope to see you there. And then we'll be doing this again on Tuesday of next week at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I would appreciate it. When you subscribe, there's a little bell that you can click that will allow you to be alerted whenever I post new content. Once again, thanks for joining me, and hope to see you again soon.